You see those ancient Greek statues? The ripped muscles, the incredible physiques? These were the Olympians, the athletic heroes of their time. You might think they were chugging protein shakes and munching on endless steak. But what if I told you their performance-enhancing diet was actually incredibly simple, surprisingly plant-based, and might just revolutionize how you think about fueling your body? Get ready, because the ancient Greek athlete diet is about to shock you. Okay, let's bust a common myth right away. When you think ancient athlete, you probably picture a warrior-like figure, crushing huge amounts of meat to build muscle. And while meat certainly played a role, it was not the daily, primary fuel for most ancient Greek Olympians. For centuries, historians thought these champions relied heavily on meat. But recent archaeological discoveries and a deeper dive into ancient texts paint a totally different picture. Their diet was far more diverse, ingenious, and adapted to their needs than a simple meat and potatoes approach. The truth is, their nutritional strategy was surprisingly modern in its emphasis on balance and strategic eating. They were fueling gladiators and long-distance runners, not just bodybuilders. So, if not endless meat, what was the absolute bedrock of the ancient Greek athletes' diet? Grains, specifically barley and some wheat. This was their ultimate energy source. Athletes ate huge quantities of barley bread, porridge, and simple cakes. Why barley? It's packed with complex carbohydrates, which are like long-lasting fuel for the body. It provided sustained energy for grueling training sessions and intense competitions. They were essentially carb-loading thousands of years before the term was even invented. This abundant, affordable grain was the foundation upon which their incredible strength and endurance were built. Think of it as their ancient energy bar, consumed at every meal. Beyond grains, ancient Greek athletes relied heavily on another powerhouse group: legumes and fresh vegetables. Lentils, chickpeas, and fava beans were incredibly important sources of plant-based protein and fiber. These helped build and repair muscles, essential for athletes in heavy training. They were cooked into hearty stews and porridges, providing a dense nutritional punch. And fresh vegetables like onions, garlic, leeks, olives, and various greens rounded out their diet, providing vital vitamins, minerals, and hydration. They were getting their micronutrients from whole, natural foods directly from the earth. So, meat wasn't completely off the menu. But for ancient Greek athletes, it was often strategic, seasonal, or symbolic, rather than a daily staple. When meat was consumed, it was often linked to religious sacrifices. After an animal was offered to the gods, the edible portions would be distributed and eaten by the community, including the athletes. This meant meat consumption could be irregular, perhaps after a successful hunt or a religious festival. Fish, especially for coastal cities, was a more consistent source of protein than large land animals. Poultry was also eaten. Red meat, like beef or pork, was probably a rarer treat, reserved for special occasions due to its cost and effort to acquire. So while they ate meat, it wasn't the endless steakhouse experience you might imagine. If grains were the fuel, then olive oil was the high-octane lubricant for ancient Greek athletes. It was their liquid gold. Olive oil was incredibly important for energy. It's a dense source of healthy fats, providing sustained energy for long training sessions and endurance events. They consumed it generously, drizzling it over almost everything: bread, vegetables, and stews. Beyond food, olive oil was also used by athletes to rub on their bodies before competition. It kept their skin supple, provided protective layer, and helped clean off dirt and sweat after exercise. It was their all-purpose performance enhancer, both inside and out. Hydration was just as crucial for ancient athletes as it is today. But their choice of drink might surprise you: watered-down wine. While they had natural springs, the purity of water in ancient times could be questionable. To make it safer and more palatable, Greeks often diluted their wine with water. This wasn't just for intoxication. It was a way to make water safer and provide some calories and minerals. Pure water was consumed, especially during intense training. But this diluted wine would have been a common and relatively safe way for athletes to stay hydrated throughout the day, providing a consistent supply of fluids and electrolytes lost through sweat. Beyond the core staples, ancient Greek athletes supplemented their diets with other nutritious foods for extra power and recovery. Cheese, typically made from goat or sheep milk, was a fantastic source of concentrated protein and fat, excellent for muscle recovery. Eggs from chickens and other birds provided high-quality protein, similar to our modern thinking. And honey, this natural sweetener, was a quick source of energy, perfect for pre-competition boosts or during long training sessions. Along with fruits like figs, dates, and grapes, honey provided natural sugars and quick fuel. These foods weren't daily for everyone, but they were certainly part of an athlete's strategic nutritional arsenal. This wasn't a free-for-all buffet. Ancient Greek athletes often followed incredibly strict dietary regimens, advised by their trainers, that evolved over time. Early on, some athletes, particularly wrestlers, were encouraged to eat large amounts of meat. But over centuries, as athletic science advanced, the emphasis shifted. Trainers started advising more balanced diets, focusing on grains, fruits, and vegetables. The famous physician Hippocrates, for example, emphasized the importance of diet, exercise, and rest in balance. Athletes were expected to maintain strict discipline, avoiding rich or unhealthy foods. Especially leading up to and during the Olympic Games, it was about peak physical condition, not just indulgence. So, what's the incredible takeaway from the ancient Greek athlete's diet? It wasn't about exotic supplements or extreme restrictions. It was about powerful simplicity, balance, and real food. First, complex carbohydrates were king for sustained energy. Second, plant-based proteins and nutrients were absolutely vital. Third, healthy fats like olive oil were crucial for concentrated energy. And finally, discipline and mindful eating were key to their success. These ancient champions achieved incredible feats without modern sports drinks or protein powders. They did it with the power of the land, strategic eating, and immense dedication. A truly timeless lesson in how to fuel the human body for greatness. If you're fascinated by the hidden stories behind our history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Ancient Ways Discovered, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the past.